I'm gonna draw your mom.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, and now it's time for another installment of what has fast become the most popular segment here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail. Arturo Z2PN didn't like my recent video detailing David Benavidez ducking Jai Opetaia like the coward. He is saying this channel are nothing but haters and your logic makes no sense, not to mention your annoying voice.
Do something about it, bitch.
Get out of the way before you get tranquiled by the Mexican movement, you racist piece of shit.
Mexican movement? What Mexican movement? David isn't Mexican. Or did you miss when Chavez reminded the world that David Benavidez is an American national and Mexicans don't even know him?
You're probably not Mexican. You're probably another one of those Ryan Garcia types.
Un pocho.
It was a very peculiar comment to leave under my video, criticizing my logic, so poke some holes in it. What was I wrong about?
He can't.
David Benavidez is requesting that a light heavyweight move up to cruiser to fight him, and all I'm saying is, well, if you're gonna stay at cruiser, why don't you just fight a cruiser? Your division's Ring Magazine and lineal champion.
Because it's not you, and it wasn't Zerto before you. It's Jai.
It's still Jai. Jerry Soraniano was back for more,
Of course he is.
saying, we've got word to David Benavidez to watch your channel for all the latest hater breaking news.
We? Who's we?
He responded to the elbow gate fairly fast. We're working towards pushing for that Opetaia fight.
Not according to David and not according to his father, so who's this we you keep mentioning?
The result of that fight is going to ruin careers.
Yeah, it might ruin David if he can find his balls and find his pen.
The only career that might get ruined as a result of that fight's outcome is David's, which is why he wants to push it all the way out to another 2 years. If he were as confident as you are, Jerry, he'd be signing up to fight that guy right now.
But he's not, is he?
And what's with all of this we stuff? Have you appointed yourself the unofficial president of the David Benavidez fan club? Because I would actually respect it a lot more if you were a member of his team. The fact that you're not, and you're dedicating this much time to this.
That's just fucking weird.
I don't like any boxer that much to behave online the way that you do, Jerry. Let's just be honest.
That's just fucking weird.
Imagine me in my mid-40s doing what this guy's doing on somebody else's YouTube channel because they don't like the same boxer that I do.
And if I didn't know better, I would say that Jerry's actually older than me.
Capping for some boxer that doesn't even know who he is, angry at another online stranger because they don't like the same fighter you do? Do you need me to?
Called you a hater.
Then what do you keep listening to me for, if I'm just a hater? If my logic is so flawed, why do you always fail to refute it?
Because he can't.
The number of appearances that Jerry Soraniano has already made on the Ring IQ hate mail, you can see this guy's here all the time. He's here on a regular basis. But for all of the comments he leaves, he can never refute any of the arguments I've made because all David Benavidez has done from the very beginning is prove me right.
That's all he's gonna do.
And what are you now saying? That you ran and told him about this channel?
You tattled?
That's your retort to the video you watched. That's your rebuttal. I tattled on you. I told David. So fucking tell him. And see if I care. Somebody needs to push back.
I don't give a shit.
Why do you think I'm not one of these guys trying to be buddy-buddy with the boxers like you are? Because I'm not gonna kiss their ass. I'm not gonna pour sugar on shit.
I don't want to be your friend. I'm just here to watch the fights.
And when you don't give me a fight that I want to watch, I'm gonna let you know about it. So if you let David Benavidez know about this channel, more power to you. He should know that he doesn't fool everybody. He doesn't fool me.
You're full of shit.
And I know you're full of shit. I've always known. That's why you spent over a decade in the super middleweight division without having unified anything.
Well before Canelo Alvarez even got there.
Go on, Jerry. Send him some of the older videos. Like the one where I said that his light heavyweight campaign isn't gonna last long. It'll come and go without a B-Vol fight, without a better B fight, because he's gonna run up to cruiser to fight his old sparring partner.
You try too hard, Jerry.
You're gonna end up looking fucking real stupid when all this blows up in your face. This ain't my first rodeo. You're gonna be the latest fanboy that has to go into radio silence when shit hits the fan, because it always does, looking for a gotcha moment.
I told David about you.
Ooh, I'm scared now! Under my latest video, he said, I remember when your narrative was that Benavidez was scared of Morel.
The David Morel that I picked him to be?
I actually love this channel. Fresh hate served daily. Good stuff.
Either you don't know what a narrative is, or you're twisting the facts to suit your own, because what Jerry's talking about is when Samson Lukowicz said that he had a signed contract for David Benavidez to fight David Morrell, only for David himself to call it fake news, and that he wasn't interested in fighting David Morrell. He instead wanted to fight Jaime Munguia. That's verbatim.
That's literally what he said, and that's what I made a video about. That's what Jerry is talking about.
But that's not a narrative, those were the facts. Those were the facts at the time. When the fight actually got made, Jerry, who did I pick to win?
I know you're not going to mention that because it doesn't suit your narrative. What you're doing isn't cute. It isn't charming.
You look like a jackass.
That you have to twist the facts in some desperate effort to elicit a gotcha moment all over some boxer that you've been obsessing about for months.
But keep watching my videos and keep sending me super chats about it. By all means, it's no sweat off my back. Like I said, you ain't the first fanboy I had to deal with. This ain't my first rodeo.
And while you may be older than I am, at least you look it, you're not wiser. When it comes to a fraud like David, the truth always comes to the light eventually. It always does. All I have to do is wait. Wait and be observant.
While you watch me.
So now let's talk about David Benavidez's stolen valor that the people at World Boxing News chose to highlight. Boxing called David Benavidez the first, while ignoring Badu Jack. David Benavidez's destructive 6-round demolition of Gilberto Ramirez should have been remembered solely for the statement he made inside the ring. Instead, boxing suddenly stopped counting Badu Jack during fight week, and throughout the build-up to Benavidez versus Zurdo, broadcasters repeatedly stated the Mexican monster was attempting to become the first fighter to win world titles at 168, 175, and Cruiser. The problem was, Badu Jack had already done that. He'd been recognized for achieving the exact same thing years earlier.
Why do you think I keep calling David a media creation?
And why do you guys think I take so much issue with how boxing is covered in this country? Jack won versions of world championships at super middle, light heavy, and cruiser, with one of those titles coming through the WBA regular system. The same structure boxing is promoted as legitimate for more than a decade whenever it suited the occasion. The contradiction made the messaging surrounding Benavidez's story impossible to ignore for years. The WBA regular titles appeared in official records, television graphics, rankings, and promotional material as full world titles. Suddenly, when Benavidez's cruiserweight win needed a unique historical hook, one of those achievements no longer counted.
Oh, they needed to manufacture a statistic to hook people in, to make it seem at all unique or special that David is now pouncing on his old sparring partner.
That's where the argument breaks. Nathan Cleverly never won the WBA regular light heavyweight title in 2016 while Andre Ward remained the organization's recognized super champion. Jack then stopped Cleverly to claim that same belt in 2017 before later vacating it, allowing Dimitri Bivol to inherit the position after Ward's retirement.
And that is where Badu Jack became full champion. In between the time that Andre Ward retires and he decides to vacate the WBA title, he was full WBA champion. He was the only WBA champion at light heavyweight.
David didn't do anything that Badu Jack didn't already do. For PBC to effectively erase that accomplishment of one of their own fighters during a major event week stood out immediately, especially given how often WBA regular titles have been promoted as legitimate world championships across PBC broadcasts and campaigns.
Badu Jack was WBA regular champion first, but after Andre Ward retires, he became the only WBA champion at light heavyweight. In effect, full champion. Now, this didn't last long. I remember it only being a matter of weeks, but still, he was full WBA champion, and he became so the same way David did, via email.
So why is it necessary for them to do this for David? Why do they gotta manufacture stats for this guy?
Because he's a fucking fraud.
When it became useful to market Benavidez's story as historically unique, the recognition attached to Jack's accomplishment quietly disappeared, and that's the real issue. They never celebrated Badu Jack's ascent to the cruiserweight division like they're now celebrating David Benavidez's.
Even more impressive is that Badu Jack was not in his prime when he decided to go all the way up to cruiserweight and become a world champion there. Not once, but twice.
And the powers that be did not celebrate that monumental achievement when Jack did it the same way they're now celebrating it when David Benavidez does it. Now, maybe it's because Badu Jack wasn't actually with the PBC when he went up to Cruiser, or maybe it's because he's never been as marketable as a David Benavidez, but that doesn't change the fact that whatever David did on Saturday, Badu Jack did it first.
David's a media creation.
Everything about him is the byproduct of opportunistic matchmaking, angling, and in this instance, misrepresenting boxing history, manufacturing statistics out of thin air to make it seem like he's doing something unique.
Jerry's not gonna like this.
From emailing him a world title to manufacturing statistics to beef up his resume, which is still kind of thin,
To glossing over how many elbows he landed on Zerto Ramirez's face in plain sight.
he is a media creation, protected by the media. Why do you think there's so many people now rallying against Jai Opetaia? And for what? Because Jai wants to fight him, and because there are people like me and you that would like to see that fight happen.
David's fans don't want to see that fight happen, and some members of the media, for the altar they are now building for what is this false idol. They don't want some little-known hard-punching Aussie to come in and spoil the party, because they know that he can.
The memory of Tyson Fury coming to America and taking down the great American heavyweight is still fresh in their minds.
They don't want to relive that shit. Inoue exposing the slick black American fighter.
They don't want to relive that shit. And for a little something closer to home, Errol Spence was the one they put on the pedestal. Errol Spence is the one the media got behind.
Not Crawford.
Errol's the one the media protected, and Errol's the one who got decimated, who got destroyed. David Benavidez is no different. All that remains of a once robust PBC stable of souped-up American hype jobs, he's almost all they have left. So they're gonna protect him. But just so you know, he's not the first fighter to win titles at super middle, light heavy, and cruiser.
If Benavidez stays at cruiserweight, the obvious fight is Opetaia. But with Opetaia comes roadblocks now. The man signed to Zuffa. He signed with an organization that wants to get rid of the sanctioning bodies. He made this fight harder to happen.
If the Zuffa belt is holding back Jai Opetaia from the biggest fight of his career, is he going to let that fight opportunity leave to keep that belt? Or is he going to say, fuck that belt, the Zuffa belt, I'm going to fight the best guy in the division that's going to make me the most money possible?
I have people telling me, Dan, he took the money. Like, he wasn't getting any money from anywhere else. He wasn't getting money from Matchroom. But look at him now. He took one fight with Glanton. It was on a Sunday night at the Apex in front of no one. And in the process, lost his IBF belt and potentially lost a massive payday and huge fight with David Benavidez.
Oh, because if not for that, David was in such a hurry to fight him. Gee, I could have swore that I saw both David and his father poo-pooing on the fight all before Jai signs to Zuffa, before he loses his IBF title, while he was still champion. They were pouring cold water on that fight. But go ahead, Dan. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good narrative.
That's how boxing coverage works in America.
That's how they're framing it. I saw one guy say Jai ran to Zuffa and looked so poor versus a guy whose claim to fame is getting beat up by CBS.
Look, poor. He won practically every single round. The guy was unrecognizable by the end of the fight. The guy, Brandon Glanton, has actually never been knocked out.
Whereas Caleb Plant and Alexander Vosdick, before David lays a glove on them, those guys had been stopped. They had been knocked out.
Yeah, just not by David. Did you give him a hard time?
If you're gonna give Jai Opetaia a hard time for not knocking out a guy who's never been knocked out,
Are you gonna give David Benavidez a hard time for not knocking out guys who have?
it's the way that they're framing this for me, because they don't want David to fight Jai Opetaia. They're making it seem like somebody's asking David to go to Zuffa to fight for the Zuffa belt when nobody's asking him to do that. Nobody's asking him to go to Paramount.
You want to keep using sides of the street as an excuse not to make a fight when nobody's asking David to go to that side of the street. He can fight Jai Opetaia on a Ring Magazine card, a Riyadh Season card.
And we've been all through this. I have a few suggestions for what Jai Opetaia should do moving forward.
Because they're going to make every excuse in the book. for David Benavidez not to fight him, but there are a few ways that he can still put David on the spot. And one way is becoming the mandatory challenger for one of the 2 alphabet titles he currently holds.
I'd recommend the brown one, the WBO. The WBO don't seem to have the quarrel with Zuffa that both the WBC and the WBA have. You can't trust the WBA to do their job in that situation, but you can trust the WBO.
Even though Jai Opetaia is still a champion by definition, Ring Magazine and lineal champion to the alphabets, he's a contender. So use that to your advantage.
That is one course of action that would allow Jai to put David Benavidez on the spot as his mandatory challenger, and if David ends up forfeiting one of his belts to Jai...
Those are not good optics for David. Then people would be able to say about David what they've been saying about Dimitri.
Another course of action with more immediate effect is skip the mandatory process and just get Jai Opetaia another belt. The WBC champion Noel Mikhailian is not otherwise preoccupied right now with no mandatories to satisfy. He's not under any orders. Make that guy an offer he can't refuse. Do it for the summer. Get Jai that belt, because if you can get him that fight, he can win that fight.
Oh yeah, he can stop that guy. But with the World Boxing Council's hardline stance against the Muhammad Ali Revival Act that Zuffa is tied to, should we expect any friction?
Mauricio did say, back when Jai still had a belt of his own, that he would not be against a fight between him and Noel Mikhailian, their champion. And the World Boxing Council, as we all know, is a lot more freewheeling than other sanctioning bodies. So long as the check clears...
So long as they can get something out of it, they don't care.
That's yet another course of action they can take for Jai. Get him another belt, get him back in that undisputed conversation. And yet another course of action they can take for more immediate effect is to make an offer to David directly.
Get Turkey LL Sheik on the horn to get David Benavidez on the horn.
Be loud about it. Take it to the public. Publish it on Ring Magazine and every social media platform you have that you've made a play to make Benavidez versus Opetaia, and now the ball is in Benavidez's court.
He's gonna drop it. He's gonna drop the ball. I know he's not gonna accept the fight, and you guys do too, but that's not the point. The point is showing that to the world. This guy's not about that life. He's not about that action. Full of shit.
You want to show people that. I've never seen a Ring Magazine and lineal champion cast aside so easily by the powers that be and the media. They're acting like Jai Opetaia didn't fight anybody when he did in fact fight his division's #1.
He beat the champion to be the champion. He beat the man to be the man who gave Usyk a harder fight than Tyson Fury, than Anthony Joshua.
Mayris, two-time cruiserweight champion, a fighter in the conversation as being one of the top 10 cruiserweights of all time. And they're acting like he's some nobody because he's not American, because it's convenient, and this is how boxing is covered in this country.
You wonder why it's not as popular as it used to be and why it doesn't grow.
They won't let it. Not if it means their souped-up American hype jobs have to walk through the fire like everybody else. Jai's got a couple of courses of action that he can take, and for all the money muscle that Zuffa is said to have behind it, it's about time they started using it, and to do more than overpay Conor Benn. Put some of that money behind Jai now.
Get him a belt, get him a fight, and put David Benavidez on the spot.